present to you this new program that we have at the University of Cincinnati. I'm going to go stand here so I can see you too. I'm going to maybe give a briefing of what the program is about and the main objectives, and then leave most of the time for questions and answers, if that's okay with you. The first, what is information technology? And the best example to explain that is to look at a computer like the ones you have, or as a phone. And if you look at the phone and if you take it and turn it off, and I will indulge you if you can do that with me. If you turn off your phone and look at it like that as a screen, it's just a device. It doesn't do anything and it cannot do anything. And nobody's using it, but it's very expensive. The discipline in the computing area that makes those devices is called computer engineering. And for a student to be prepared for computer engineering, they need to be strong in mathematics and physics. Once you turn on the device, it comes to this screen. We call it the operating system. And in the operating system, the actual device itself is active. It is working. The example I like to give, my mother is in Egypt. If she posts a picture, that device will recognize that, and it will show it to me and tell me your mom posted a picture. We all have that on Facebook. But me, I didn't do anything. It's just sitting in my phone doing all of that on its own. The discipline that makes what we call the operating system and that platform, we call it computer science. To be, for a student to be successful in computer science, they need to be very strong in mathematics. Now, if I ask you to use the device or the computer, I did this exercise with some of my students. We had 30 students in the room. Almost each one did something different. Some used, older folks like me used Facebook, and younger folks used the Snapchat at the time. I don't know what's out there now. Some used photos, some used calendars, and so on. Once a user uses the computer or a solution on the computer, that's where information technology comes in. The key skill for information technology, for a student to be successful in information technology, is hands-on skills, problem-solving skills, and communication skills. Math is valuable, but not as critical as it is in computer science and in computer engineering. So we are talking here about information technology as that discipline in the computing spectrum. So why is it important to to grow the talent in information technology? You probably, any newspaper that you read, there's something related to that. Whether it is security, a new technology innovation, or anything like that. It's a field that is growing between 10 to 15% nationwide. In Ohio, it's a critical field for innovation in any sector, from education to military, law enforcement, financial, healthcare, you name it, there is information technology associated with it. I would say that we need about 15 to 20% of the computer engineers that make the device, about maybe 20% of the computer scientists, but the majority of the people we need are the information technologists. And information technology covers the software development, in cybersecurity, networking, and we have also game development. So the idea of the program we have, if you envision a pipeline like that, a student spends 4 years in the high school, and then there is a big barrier between high school and the university. I have the university undergraduate degree as a 5 years, and then there's a master degree. And the reason I have a master degree is research in technology area, or projections in the technology area, indicate that higher degrees will be required for students to advance, so I put that in here. What you notice about this pipeline, it's long, it's expensive for everybody involved, and it takes a long time for someone to reach the industry. What we did at the University of Cincinnati is looked at this first year, the freshman year, and we said if a student goes to the freshman year and they score C or above, we tell them you can continue. If they score less than C, we tell them you're on probation and maybe leave the program. So the idea is to partner with the high schools, take that freshman year and give it to the high school, and treat the student the same. So taking the freshman year out of the university and giving it to the high school time And treating the student the same, meaning we offer the student the same condition. You score C or above in our freshman year, you are automatically admitted into the university to continue the program. So we eliminate that barrier in the middle. So it becomes a seamless pathway between the high school and the college. Not only seamless because the student finishes the first year in the program, but also seamless because of the automatic admission and the guaranteed acceptance for the students coming to complete that program. Then we'll do the same for the graduate. Instead of having the student finish the undergraduate, then take the graduate, we take the graduate and overlay it on top of the undergraduate, so we create that path. So we took 7 years after high school and made them into 4. And removed the barrier between the high school and the university. This is applied only to information technology, so the automatic acceptance if the students want to come to the information technology. Now there's a lot of details on how can a student finishes the freshman year while in high school. This table shows you the freshman year courses. There are 6 IT courses, a math class, an English class, and a general education class. There are 4 methods to be completed, college credit plus, advanced placement, CTAG, and bilateral agreement. We partner with the district, and the district selects one of these methods or more. Some districts will have 5 or 6 pathways to open it to the variety of the student population in the district. This is just a template to start in 9th grade, some districts to start at 10th, at 11, at 12. This is an equal partnership between the university and the district decides which arrangement is more suitable for its students. 2 of these options can be delivered, or several of those, through a qualified teacher. There's some pros and cons, and then we created a teacher training program. If to deliver a college credit plus or a bilateral agreement course at the high school, the teacher must meet the Higher Learning Commission requirement, and we created this certificate. It's a graduate certificate offered in the summer in a self-paced online format that a teacher can complete, and upon completion they become qualified to teach any of the 6 IT courses. It doesn't apply to the math, English, or the general education, and these are covered different ways. So I'm going to stop here. We have partnership with the community colleges as well, but I'm going to stop here and see if there are any questions.
Is it important for UC that we have a teacher here who is certified? Could this be accomplished through CCP alone?
Yes, it can. This is a district decision.
Okay.
Do districts typically have more than one teacher that go through this qualification, or is it just one?
It's again district decision. We have worked with the industry and through other grants, and we were able to cover the cost of a teacher trained. So currently we've been offering to cover the cost of 1 teacher from the district. If the district would like to train more, they will need to cover that cost. We can help with some scholarships if they want to cover more, but our goal is to at least have, if the districts want to train one of the teachers, to at least help 1 teacher. We'll cover the cost of 1 teacher.
Is there a screening process to select the teacher that's going to go through that? Is that a district decision, or is that something we work collaboratively with UC or?
One of the decisions we made early on, it's an equal partnership, so the districts run its own decision, so that's totally a district decision. We can provide some feedback if the districts wants us to provide feedback, but that's a district decision.
So it doesn't matter if the teacher has just a bachelor's or a master's, or it doesn't matter?
Has to have a bachelor, doesn't matter the background.
Okay, all right. So they don't have to have a master's?
No,
And
by
then
completing this certificate will qualify them to teach only these 6 IT courses.
Okay. So do you have teachers that finish 18
Yes.
credit hours in a summer?
It's a competency-based education model, so we give them 8 months to finish that the 18 hours. So they start in the summer and they have till December. We ran this on 1 cohort, and that cohort we learned a lot. We realized that the teachers need a lot of guidance, and very few teachers did anything in the summer, so we had to do some interventions starting in September. And but I'm very happy we had I think out of the 7 5 finished by December, and 2 are, we give them extension this semester to finish.
So if they don't finish by August, then we couldn't offer these courses in fall.
It's a very good question. We did some clever adjustments. So it depends on which of those methods. The teacher training is required through CCB or the bilateral agreement. The CCB, if that will be the situation, we will recommend that the class be offered in the spring. In a bilateral agreement, if you can make sure that the class ends in the spring, so by the time the grades awarded to the students, the teacher is qualified, that would work. And that's happened in the first cohort. Some districts, these courses are semester level courses from our point of view. However, this first class, some districts have implemented it in a year long as a bilateral agreement. And in this case, the teacher was qualified by December and the class will end in April. So by the time the class ends and the grades are put, the teacher will qualify.
And this, so you probably, this is a fairly new program. So you probably don't have data on how successful are these students once they get to UC and they start taking those sophomore year courses, going through this sequence of courses here or through this bilateral agreement. You probably don't have students coming to you yet from it.
Yes, but the IT program at UC started in 2004, and we have a lot of success data from there. We accept the students. We have students who have taken CCB on its own for the last 3 years, and they have scored very competitively to our students. And it is primarily because what I mentioned earlier, that success in this depends on practice. It's a hands-on practice, so it does not have the same level of abstract knowledge requirement that other disciplines in computing may require. So the success rate for the students, especially if they have passion towards computer, is quite high.
If the district did not make an actual arrangement with UC, could a student still pursue that line independently?
They can do the College Credit Plus independently on their own. I think advanced placement require the district has to offer. So I think the student will have to go through the College Credit Plus.
Okay.
The big challenge for College Credit Plus is that it requires readiness conditions on the student, and it gives the student transcripted credit, which can be good or bad depending on the situation.
What about the co-op
Yes.
component? Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. So in this model, the co-op starts after the freshman year. The co-op is a full semester.
The real freshman year or the?
Yeah, I'm going to get to how it will work. I'm going to how it works now, and then I'm going to get how this will be impacting. So in the 5-year program at UC, the student finishes the freshman year, then after that they start co-oping. And then they alternate 1 semester at school and 1 semester in a company, full-time paid employment for the entire semester. By moving the freshman year to the high school, in this model, co-op can start right after freshman year, which in this case, right after high school starts. So a student can finish our freshman year in high school and then start co-op in the summer before coming to the university. This is an optional though, so if student can decide not to do that and start co-op later, like either in the fall or the spring when they come to UC.
Just out of curiosity, what are some of the companies that we co-op with? Or that
We place students in about 220 companies. Your top ones in Cincinnati, I think Kroger Technologies, American Financial Group, almost all the financial sectors, education sectors. We have about 20 companies out of the 240 that hire 2 or more students. The majority hire 1. So you have a large number of small and medium-sized companies in almost every sector you can think of.
How do you determine placement for the students?
We have an office in the university that manages the students' placement. One of the courses here is professional development for IT. If a student will seek that placement, we will have them take that course as in the senior year. And we have an electronic system where companies and students are matched. It is an interview process, so we do not force a student on a company or a company on the student. So students have to apply and go to the interview. Sometimes they get multiple offers, sometimes they negotiate. And we help them. We have about 98% placement rate for our co-op students.
If you aren't selected for a co-op, can you still continue through with the major?
Yes, what you do is we have alternatives, so they can do research studies, or they can swap semesters, so you do academic semester and try again co-op in the following semester.
So for the CCP, obviously, if you meet one of these classes through CCP, that can transfer to another school as
Yes.
well. If you do it through what would be our teacher with a bilateral agreement, you would have to go to UC to get credit for that class?
Yes, so a bilateral agreement works the same way as advanced placement.
Okay.
So you have to come to UC and receive the credit for that class. You can have your teacher teach the College Credit Plus. So when a high school teacher is qualified, they can either teach the class at a bilateral agreement or College Credit Plus.
With the same certificate that they go through,
Yes,
or do they have to go
yes,
through anything
yes.
else?
Yes, so this qualifications for the teacher meets the Higher Learning Commission requirement, which is a must if that course will be taught as a bilateral agreement or a College Credit Plus.
Okay, so if it's through a bilateral agreement and the student gets a B+ in the class, when they go to UC, do they have a B+ on their
No,
transcript?
they have advanced standing.
Okay, so that would be the difference between the College Credit Plus and that?
Yes, and it's in a bilateral agreement, it's a high school class. So all what comes with that in terms of finances as well as credits. A CCB
So they're just getting 3 hours on their transcript, for example, and that's it? It's like the AP credit?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So the coursework for the teachers, those are all online classes?
Yes, online competency based.
Okay.
Could we set it up where the teacher was teaching one class as both a bilateral agreement class and a CCP class, and the student could choose which one they wanted to use?
Talawanda's doing that. Because I think in a CCB you can have non-CCB students sitting in the class. So what they're doing, if the student qualifies for CCB, they take it as CCB. If not, they take it as a bilateral agreement.
Excellent.
So they have done that actually, a couple of.
That's actually a really good option.
Yeah.
How complicated is the ninth grade class, for instance? Is it a college class or is it a high school kind of a class in the bilateral agreement?
It's a high school class.
It's a high school
All bilateral agreements is a high school class, and it is a semester class. The high school class has to cover our content, which is managed by the learning outcomes, and some districts made it a year long to give time for the ninth graders to absorb the content. Some districts are using it as the selection criteria, so everybody can take that class, and from there they get introduced to the pathway. And the student then learn, oh yeah, this is for me, this is not for me. Some districts took it and made it required for everybody in ninth grade. Everybody has to take that class. And then they use it as a technology electives or something like that. So every district is different. But content-wise, it is different. We've been running this class in a condensed version in the summer for the last 3 years, and the students can complete that content. It's mostly project-based content, hands-on, computer-based, so it's a lot of fun. And a lot of people, one of the motivation to us that give us confidence for this program, we found a lot of students who do very well on the projects, and if we give them a quiz, they may not do as well. And we found that most of IT is problem solving, project-based. Yeah, quiz and knowledge is good, but you don't have to be 100% on that. You can be okay on that, but if you're good in your hands-on skills, you'll be very successful and contribute positively to your company.
Are there course descriptions that the public could go out and look at and kind of get an idea of what these courses teach?
Yes, it's on our website. I also send them in a document to the superintendent.
Yeah, just for the public, I wanted them to know.
Yeah, on our website they can see all this. Because this is our freshman year. So if they go to our website, they find description on our freshman year.
You said that it's very hands-on.
Yes.
as far as the district is concerned, if we're teaching this class in one of our classrooms, will we need new IT equipment, or what kind of investment can we expect to have to make?
Very good question. We have our own private cloud in the university that our students in the undergraduate and graduate use, and through funding from the state in something called Ohio Cyber Range, we're making this open to all K-12. So K-12 will have access to that system for free, and we are working with them now to see how authentication will work. Every district in Ohio have access to something called Ohio Academic Research Network, AllNet, and through AllNet we might be able to do authentication between district systems and students, so you don't have to get a new username and password. But if it doesn't happen, partner districts will use our system. So all what the student need is something like that with an internet connection.
So our Chromebooks or whatever will be
Anything with an
sufficient.
internet connection, and through the internet they log into computer systems, as many as they want, and they do these projects.
What salary can these students expect to make coming out of college, and what can they work towards?
Our average co-op earning is between $8,000 and $15,000 a semester, and the reason there's a big range, it's because it's hands-on. Upon graduation, the entry level salary of our graduate in 2015 was $58,000.
And they can work up to, I mean, is this basically a flat, or can they work up to something? have any idea
2
about
weeks
that?
ago, there was a job opening for $250,000 for a software developer with 5-6 years of experience. There is no limit. The limit is very high, quite high. I did some research on this, and I was surprised that number 12 in the MBA Cavalier makes about $100,000. So if somebody's aiming for the MBA and the life dream is to become in the MBA and makes it as number 12 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, a graduate from this program will make more than that.
So we have, let's say we have a teacher, they step up to go through this program, they take the 18 credit hours, then they're starting to prep for fundamentals of IT. What support do they have? Is it like, here's your textbook, or do they use the LMS through UC?
It depends on the class and what the districts want, but in the part of the requirements, there's a teaching preparation competency for each of the 6 IT courses. This is taught by the college faculty. So the teacher and the college faculty, they build a one-on-one relationship. All the content of the class is available to the high school teacher through that teaching prep. It's up to the high school teacher to use our material or to make their own. It's up to them. They have to abide by the learning protocols.
But they only have to pick 3 of those.
They don't have. Actually, we ask them to take all 18. They get the certificate if they finish 12, but we learned that to be on the safe side with the Higher Learning Commission, we want them to finish the whole 18, and the cost is the same, so we asked all of them to sign up for all the 18.
So each of these are 1 hour?
Each of those are 1 credit hour.
Gotcha.
It is some work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. But the benefit is they qualify to be teaching even for us. So in the first cohort, we actually hired one of those teachers to teach for us as adjunct. So they teach an evening class or an online class for us. So for the teacher, it's an extra pay when they become teaching for us. And our program is expanding, so it's actually helping us create a pool of qualified instructors for us in addition to the district. So there are rewards, or there are some positive consequences for the teacher. It opens up opportunities for the teachers that I think it is worth the effort.
So if we decide to use your materials, is that an extra expense?
No.
No, okay.
We're creating a community of educators in the districts. We actually have a meeting in February 23rd, and we invited the district. And we currently have 13 districts that signed into an agreement with us, signed the MOU for this program, and we're bringing all of them together for the first time on the 23rd, and we expect to have regular meetings with them both as educators as well as the administrator to make sure that this proceeds successfully.
What would be the deadline that we would have to enter into an OMU?
No deadline.
No deadline. Okay.
There are some timelines for CCB, but other than that, it's up to you. You can start it anytime you want. If you want the teacher to come, the teacher training starts in the summer, and we would want to know if you want to send the teacher to the training and you want to cover the cost of that teacher. We would like the agreement done before end of March, and we would like to know about it before end of March for this summer. But we can do it later for next summer. Yes, sir.
Just a question. Let's just do a hypothetical, like the board wants to move forward, and we identify a teacher, and the teacher completes the coursework or is in the process, and they're teaching classes in the fall, and something happens to the teacher. You know, they quit, they leave, they get pregnant, we're out. You know, is it just a substitute situation at that point? Do we have to just find a substitute, or do we got to get somebody else through the courses as well? Because there'll be a small percentage of people that actually have the certification.
We're hoping that by creating a network of teachers who are in this situation and working with our adjuncts, if an emergency like that happens, we can step in and help. And if we know ahead of time, perhaps we can work with you and train another teacher. We know there are things that are gonna happen. But what we're doing from our perspective is trying to create a community that meets regularly, that's able to keep a tab on these things and address them as they come. This is not easy. Jumping through this hoop is not easy, and we understand. Students still have to graduate high school, they have to meet all the requirements, they have to apply to the university, so there are lots of offices that we have to deal with to ensure that the automatic acceptance applies, that all the credits they earn moves in correctly. So there are some administrative challenges, but we're working on it. We have it in place, and we'll make sure that it goes smoothly.
I'd just like to say you're a real innovator, and I think this is really impressive, and I want to thank you for coming out to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think the biggest obstacle, as far as, the biggest challenge for us as a district going into this program?
I've worked now with about 25 districts. The big challenge for all the districts is to decide how they want to offer these courses and how to fit that into their schedule in a way that makes sense for the district's vision for education and at the same time offers lots of opportunities. You have among those who are hands-on, the type of students that will succeed in this is the hands-on student who loves computer, who's passionate about people. Those students sometimes are academically disciplined and sometimes are not. And a bilateral agreement may work very well for those who are not really into the academic. A CCB puts, an AP puts a higher challenge on the students, so some districts want to cater to both and give the opportunity for both. So they have to be creative, like this example of how you put them all together and so on. But coming up with this, it required some leadership and innovation. Some districts, they make a leadership decision, this is need to happen, and it moves quickly. Some other districts, they run into a loop trying to trying to optimize this, and sometimes never come out of that loop. I want to leave you with that possibility too, because I mentioned the academically ambitious students. So, this is going to take time to roll, but here are the undergraduate specializations and the master degree options that are available. There's MBA, Master of IT, Master of Instructional Design and Technology, Master of Health Informatics, and these are the specialty that are available to the students. And this is what I wanted to add for academically ambitious. By carefully selecting their electives and AP classes, they can complete 2, not 1 years of our program in the high school. which means that they can finish the undergraduate degree, the 20 months of paid work experience, and the master in only 3 years after high school, not 4.
And that's
Approved electives, so finishing those as well.
So the other extreme of that is the student that is not good at your general requirement courses.
Yes.
So in their year 12, they had to take a college level English comp in their college level math. So
Yeah.
what if you have a student who is very engaged in these IT courses, but they are not qualifying to take a college level English comp class or a college level math course?
Yes.
So they finish all of your IT courses, they graduate high school. Can they take English and math come their sophomore year at UC? What if they end up testing into remedial? Do they
Yes.
have to take your placement test?
So anyone who does not finish the 9 courses, we will not be able to give them the automatic admission. However, a situation like the one you described is someone who we will see as extremely valuable. So we will write letters for admission and try to give them preferred admission, but we will not be able to guarantee it. And yes, they can finish those classes when they come. In the MOU, there are lots of options that we put available. So our requirement is pre-calculus, but alternatively, they can do college algebra only. Alternatively, they can do a stat class. So sometimes those students can do better in one or the other. Like English, there's no escape. So they have to succeed English. There are 2 types of indirect support that we have to offer: support for the students and support for the teachers. And that's one of the things on the agenda on the 23rd when we bring all the districts together, because we don't want to discover that here. We would like to know from here that this student needs some support so that we can offer summer support, evening support, so that when they come here, they're able to pass these obstacles. But they are obstacles.
Are you having a lot of business come to you all saying, you
Yes.
just can't find enough IT?
Our
Qualified.
students are hired. This initiative is, I think I had something here. This initiative is supported by the business in the area, the CIO Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Economic Development Council. They are all partners on this initiative. There is not only a shortage, but there is a need for skilled, innovative people. And because IT is hands-on, it's like music or basketball. My son entered basketball in 7th grade. The first thing they told him, it's too late. You should have started in 5th grade or the 4th or 3rd grade. Music is like that. If you want to really be good in music, you can't come to college and start playing. They will not even let you in music. IT, unfortunately, people come to IT in college, sometimes even 2nd and 3rd year of college. So that the level of skill that's going to come out of that from just 3 or 4 years is quite different than if we start with the students in 9th or 10th grade. So we expect the bar of the level of talent at Cincinnati to rise considerably, even if the number so it's not just a matter of shortage, it's a matter of diversity, and it's a matter of level of talent and skills.
So, I mean, anything could happen, but what is the future for this program? So, is it we go through one full cohort of freshmen on? Are we looking at, are you thinking the program will be around as long as we want it to be around?
The early college program or the baccalaureate program?
Yes, yeah, the IT.
It's your decision.
That's part of the MOU, right?
The MOU is open
Okay.
unless you end it. So the MOU does not stipulate 1 or 2 cohorts. The MOU says that the program is available until you terminate it. So if districts want to do only 1 trial, want to bring in multiple cohorts, it's a district decision.
Is your question trying to get at the fact that
Yeah.
is your commitment to this something
Yes.
that you see going well into the future? Is this something that you see as really wanting to develop and continue throughout
Yes.
time?
Yes, this is why there's an MOU. There is actually an MOU to bring to the district the university commitment, And there's another MOU, which is what I call the pathway MOU, that basically say, we are committed, if you deliver these courses, we will automatically accept this student. That's basically the essence of that. There's another one for the bilateral agreement, because the bilateral agreement also is a course-based. So let's say you have somebody who want to study history and took 2 courses as bilateral agreement and came to UC, they cover the technical electives that are required in the history degree. They don't need to do it anymore.
So even if they don't go for IT,
Even
they
if
still
they-
would need.
Yeah, the
classes
bilateral
somehow.
agreement is for the class. You took the class, you come to UC, you're gonna get advanced standing for that class.
If a student went through all of this, they go to UC, they're there for a year or 2, and for whatever reason, they have to transfer. Those classes then are on their transcript, so they will potentially be able to transfer to another school if they needed to at some
Yes,
point.
once they enroll to UC on a bilateral agreement, all of this will show up on the transcript.
Gotcha.
So even if they transfer after a month.
Okay.
Right?
And it's a C in every course, not a C average.
C every course, which will lead to a C overall. Minimum C.
Are the high schools weighting the bilateral agreement classes the same as like a College Credit Plus and Advanced Placement? How are you seeing that done in the high schools?
I think one district only brought to my attention this, and they are weighing it the same way they're weighing College Credit Plus. And because they consider that it's a college class. But the others didn't bring me to that discussion, so I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, I was just curious what you had seen. Thank you.
Well, if you offer it as a bilateral and a College Credit Plus, you'd have to make it a 4, then that class would have to be a 4 by state law, because CCP classes have to be a 4. So if we did both, they would definitely be a 4.
Beyond me.
Is there anything else? Say?
No, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait.
I'm sorry, I have one more request. Do you have course descriptions and learning outcomes for the teacher training courses?
I do, but it was not gathered in a document like the other ones.
Okay.
So I have to get one of my students to put it. It is inside the university system, but it's buried.
Okay.
Somebody has to pull it out.
Okay.
So
All right.
I talked to the
Yeah,
superintendent,
okay.
and I will be able to get it in a couple of days.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.